TV7 Israel News is made possible thanks to your generous donations.
Shalom, good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcast to you from Jerusalem. Despite Houthi ballistic missile fire toward Israel, the Iranian-proxy is turning desperate in the face of an intensifying American military offensive. U.S. President Donald Trump stresses that his decision on Iran will be made soon. French Foreign Minister Jean-Noel Barrot urges European vigilance to guarantee Europe's national security interests are preserved vis-à-vis Iran's nuclear program. The IDF ratchets up the intensity of operational activities throughout the Gaza Strip, gaining ground in multiple hostile sectors, to include the successful encirclement of the border town of Rafah, which is situated adjacent to the Gazan border with Egypt. Meanwhile, in the town of Rafah proper, IDF troops located a significant weapons cache and several tunnel shafts used by the Islamist Hamas and its terror affiliates, including a shaft that was located within a kindergarten's courtyard.
We are here at a kindergarten in the Rafah area. You can clearly see the classrooms located here and here. Here's the yard, there are slides here, and there's the carousel. The terror tunnel shaft is located right in the corner of the yard. The shaft is right here in the middle of the yard, in a kindergarten.
According to the IDF spokesperson's unit, over the past day alone, the Israel Air Force struck approximately 35 terror targets throughout the Gaza Strip. Among the targets struck was a weapons manufacturing site in southern Gaza and a launching site containing launchers with rockets that were directed toward Israeli territory. Meanwhile, the Iranian-proxy Ansar Allah, which is dominated by the Houthi tribe in Yemen, launched a ballistic missile toward Israeli territory. Thankfully, the incoming projectile was successfully intercepted before entering Israeli airspace. Nevertheless, debris of an interceptor missile landed near the town of Hebron. No injuries or damage were reported. Meanwhile, in Yemen, tens of thousands of tribal terror operatives who are affiliated to the Houthis gathered in the city of Sana'a in a desperate attempt to showcase a collective will to fight, voicing a pledge to persistent cross-border belligerence against Israel and freedom of navigation, while also condemning the United States for holding it accountable for its actions.
Death to America, death to Israel, cruise the Jews, victory for Islam, liberation of Al-Aqsa.
To the evident dismay by the Iranian-proxy Ansar Allah, it bitterly fails to mount any type of counteroffensive against U.S. Central Command's ongoing aerial and naval campaign against Houthi targets across Yemen, with U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth stressing time and again that the only way for the Iranian-proxy to end the American campaign against it would be for the terror group to end its blatant aggression against maritime shipping in the strategic Strait of Bab el-Mandeb and adjacent waterways.
The Houthi campaign has been devastatingly effective. It continues to be focused on establishing freedom of navigation. When the Houthis decide to not shoot at our ships and our assets, we'll step back. Iran's got a big part of that equation as well in sending that message.
Secretary Hegseth further stressed the Pentagon's preparatory work to provide President Donald Trump a list of contingencies in relation to Iran's nuclear program in the event that diplomacy fails.
President Trump's been clear on that. Iran should not have a nuclear bomb, nuclear weapons. We very much hope the President is focused on doing that peacefully. That's very much what we would prefer as well. Our job at the Defense Department is to make sure we have all the assets available for any possible contingency, and that's what we'll continue to do. But the President is focused. There are negotiations ongoing. It's very much, as he's made clear, our preferred track Our job is to devastate the Houthis and open up those shipping lanes, and we'll continue to do that.
It is important to know that nuclear talks between the United States and the Islamic Republic of Iran began on Saturday in the Gulf Sultanate of Oman. Ahead of the talks, the Ayatollah regime staged a protest aiming to signal Tehran's undeterred resolve to maintain its nuclear program.
Death to Israel. Death to Israel. Death to America. Death to America.
Our people all know that these negotiations are pointless because, as the Supreme Leader previously stated, we can have no trust in America. America remains the same great Satan it has always been, with no change in its behavior or actions to warrant renewed trust in this round.
The Ayatollah regime further instructed its clerics to address the issue of nuclear talks, articulating a hardline stance vis-à-vis diplomatic concessions.
The issue of indirect negotiations, just as direct talks, are beneath our dignity. The experience throughout history shows that America, regarding all agreements, has been an element of breaking promises, which is detached from international laws, and has acted without conscience. The U.S. does not deserve direct negotiations.
In parallel to a variety of statements against the diplomatic track, the Ayatollah regime contrastingly insisted that it engages in talks with the Americans with the necessary seriousness.
We participated with the necessary seriousness. Our intention is to reach a fair and honorable agreement from a position of equality. If the other side has entered with the same approach, then, Allah willing, there will be a chance for a preliminary understanding that could lead to a negotiated path. This is the first meeting, and in it, many fundamental and initial issues will be clarified, including, if there is sufficient will on both sides, a decision on a timeline.
The Iranian foreign minister, who made those remarks prior to the meeting, went on to stress that the negotiations with the American delegation would be held indirectly.
What is clear at this stage is that the negotiations are indirect and, from our perspective, are solely about the nuclear issue and with the necessary will to reach an agreement based on equality, and one that ensures the national interests of the Iranian people.
Following the negotiations, which were held for a total of 45 minutes away from the cameras, it was revealed that the Iranian delegation met with their American counterparts for direct talks. Nevertheless, when asked about the direct discussions, the Iranian top diplomat downplayed its significance.
I believe it was nothing special. As we were leaving, two delegations happened to encounter each other, and we spoke for a few minutes. It is an accepted matter. In our interactions with American diplomats, we have always observed diplomatic courtesy. This time, too, it was to the same extent, just a small conversation, an exchange of greetings, so to speak, and then we left the venue. It wasn't anything extraordinary.
Meanwhile, in the United States, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt stressed, following a conversation she had held with President Trump the evening prior, that all options are on the table and Iran has a choice to make.
And he has reiterated repeatedly to all of you publicly and also privately to his team here at the White House, his ultimate goal and the ultimate objective is to ensure that Iran can never obtain a nuclear weapon. The president believes in diplomacy, direct talks, talking directly in the same room in order to achieve that goal. But he's made it very clear to the Iranians, and his national security team will as well, that all options are on the table, and Iran has a choice to make. You can agree to President Trump's demand, or there will be all hell to pay. And that's how the president feels. He feels very strongly about it.
Meanwhile, on board the American presidential aircraft Air Force One, U.S. President Donald Trump noted that his determination, whether Iran is serious about negotiations or not, vis-à-vis its nuclear program, would be made very soon.
And we'll be making a decision on Iran very quickly.
Turning to Luxembourg, where French Foreign Minister Jean-Noel Barrot insisted that any negotiations that may take place between the United States and Iran must comply with the security interests of France, Britain, and Germany. Paris's top diplomat, who spoke on the sidelines of an EU foreign ministerial on the topics of both Gaza and Russia, went on to express the necessity for European vigilance.
Dans le même temps, les États-Unis ont engagé une discussion.
The United States has initiated a discussion this weekend with Iran. We welcome this approach very favorably, but we will be vigilant with our British and German friends and partners to ensure that any negotiations that may begin are in line with our security interests with regard to the Iranian nuclear program, which poses a significant threat to French and European territory.
Européen, une menace significative.
Thank you for watching TV7 Israel News. I would like to start by wishing all of our viewers a Chag Pesach Sameach and a blessed Easter, and thank all of TV7's family of supporters. TV7 Israel is a donation-based ministry with all of our programs made possible by the generosity of our viewers. Therefore, if you're blessed by the content of our productions, please consider becoming a monthly TV7 Israel supporter. You can donate via our website at www.tv7israelnews.com. Keep praying for the peace of Jerusalem and salvation of Israel. I'm Jonathan Essen wishing you a Shavua Mevorach, and God willing, we'll see you during our next update. Until then, Shalom from Jerusalem.